member of the Screen Directors Guild, and she's continuing practice as a real estate agent. And she's a
Don't give away my speech.
oh yeah, she's a famous poet.
If you want this, I'm going to say this. Just a minute. Well, since I became a great-grandmother of 2, I thought it might be of interest to you to talk about my journey through this life and what it was like to be a big city wife, to maybe impart what wisdom I acquired. Was I happy or hopelessly mired in life's minutiae with worries galore? Or was I lucky and had maybe more than a person could hopefully possess, much more than a modicum of happiness and hopefully some success? I thought it best to tell it all in rhyme. Seemed easier to write it while I had the time to mull things over and find what I could to make it cogent and hopefully good enough to keep you interested and alert, while I tried my very best to dish out all the dirt. And being this great-grandmother with the status it implies, I promise to be truthful, making sure I omit all the lies. And please try not to nod off as I tell you more. Be kind to your neighbor and try your darndest not to snore. I was born in Manhattan, real close to where I currently reside. Central Park and Bloomingdale's, places we could hide from our immigrant Italian parents, who valiantly helped us survive the 30s Great Depression and kept us all alive. My 2 brothers and 3 sisters, all gone now. I, the youngest, we were all pretty happy somehow. The pattern of good family life I received when I was young. Self-sacrificing parents, life hard and unsung. But there was caring and security that a big family brings, and excellent Italian food, aplenty, we always ate like kings. When I was 8 or 9, they discovered I could sing. I joined my friends in the Episcopal choir and church, a defining moment that would bring an end to my childhood search for structure, community, and life's definition. I sang and grew and learned beyond my very own recognition. Those years at St. Thomas, even went to summer camp to find me even as an adult now. That experience put an indelible stamp, the love of singing, music, and learning somehow. I graduated from Julia Richmond High and worked for Scholastic magazine. I didn't even pretend that I could afford the university scene. And then the attack on Pearl Harbor and war, our world turned upside down and more excitement and concern to beat the band. My brothers enlisted to save the land. My mother, heartbroken, never fully recovered from those years of being constantly worried. It's hard to describe those war years. Maturity came very fast to hide all those doom and gloom fears. Young marriages not meant to last, wartime fever in the air, wanting to love before they died, knowing this war really unfair, made them hide all the hurt inside. A brief teen marriage at the start of World War II lasted just a year, made me grow up very fast, wiping many a tear for all those young boys and men lost in that awful war. It was time for healing for me and many more. After that, I sang and danced my way through the next few years, became a ballroom dance teacher in the Catskills, dealt with all the leers. When the war was finally over, the country became alive. I remarried to Zachary, had 2 children by the time I was 25. Finally went to college nights when Bucky and Jan were tots. A little education really helped you lots. Then I became an actress. My husband, busy making ends meet, left me with enough time to study with elite Lee Strasberg, Marilyn Monroe's old teacher. I learned the method and became this really stage-struck creature. I had a great time juggling many balls in the air, caring for the children, doing theater. I had my share of life in the fast lane with little time to spare. During this time, we lived in the city, West 86th Street to be exact. Everyone now moving to the suburbs, we'd pity them, their artistic lack. My children went to public school. I became president of the PTA. I had to make sure they learned the golden rule while their mother was in the school play. To round out their education, though there wasn't much money to burn, to make ends meet and the children older, I took day jobs in New York's Garment Center. Showroom sales, toy demonstrator, hat model when I got bolder. I became the city's most industrious yenter. Where do children learn morality? And I'll tell you what happened next. I embraced my husband's Jewish homily, a mixed marriage put to the test. It was uncommon then, but lucky me, I loved and revered my Jewish family. What a learning experience I've had, privy to seemingly different religious ideas. I'm sure it makes us all very sad to listen to discrimination fears. One thing I learned, on this you can bet, no one's improved on the 10 Commandments yet. The inner search for contentment is paramount in our lives. My daughter Jan introduced me to a teacher with the words of peace he provides. I accompanied her to Australia, a trip I will never forget. We camped out with all those who attended, people from all over the world we met. And the aura of meditation and caring never ended. They came in search of what we all need, worldwide community and an end to mankind's greed. I traveled with a friend to the Far East, saw Mao's China, invited to a banquet in the Great Hall. Rows and rows of Chinese dishes, an incredible feast. We even went to see the Great Wall. Now it's pretty easy to jet everywhere, though travel is not like it was. I went to Egypt, now you can't go there. Don't be discouraged, keep traveling, everyone does. What's this thing about islands and ferries that always seems part of my life? Some romantic remoteness that's part and parcel of husband and wife. Is it the idyllic beaches watching the pelicans fly? Or is it the gentle waves lapping at the feet of you and I? Are we defined by where we live? Is necessity the only criteria? Do work habits keep us landlocked, living the city's hysteria? My fire island has no real fire, only the flame that's in my heart. A place to fulfill your every desire, a place from which I cannot part. It's a barrier island, 35 miles long and 3 blocks wide. Small, diverse communities inhabit the beach. Just 45 minutes on a ferry ride puts sweltering New York City out of reach. No cars allowed, ocean air, children free to roam. Of course you'd love it, I declare. It always feels like home. Pregnant with Bucky, we were invited to Fire Island by a friend. A momentous moment that still has no end. I fell in love with this wonderful place, and as you can tell, always say Fire Island with a smile on my face. Here were adventures with people galore. I made friends with Yul Brynner, Mike Wallace, Vic Damone, Eddie Fisher, and more. More producers, celebrities, theater greats of folklore. This was their getaway vacation spot, the telephone and old party line. Ordinary folks, like as not, thought it gay and not a place for their kind. We were finally after quite a few years, to buy a house in this place I adored. My husband Zachary, no longer in arrears, said, go find a house we can afford. That was in 1972, a year that lives in infamy. So many great times and memories, it all means the world to me. Even Bucky's ex-wife Sharon, now remarried with 3, came every summer with her new family. Every summer, the house filled with children and friends. It's still happening today. I hope it never ends. This wouldn't be complete without honorable mention to my beautiful co-op on Park. Yes, those golden years, they flew. Who knew we'd mingle with the hoi polloi, finally made our mark. Lived there for 28 incredible years. My neighbor, Robert Rubin, we cry in our beers. My husband ill, we finally had our fill. We sold when the market wasn't doing too well. Too bad I couldn't keep it, the millions would be swell. I still belong to a private club called Doubles. It's mentioned frequently in Avenue magazine. I go there to forget my troubles and mingle with the Cafe Society scene. My husband had an office located on the West Coast. We always stopped in Vegas, a place he loved the most. He became a high roller with the perks that can bring. Oh, what a time it was. I even got a diamond ring. But in the final analysis, when the chips were down, I had to learn to gamble or get a divorce. I really went to town. Yes, I love to play poker and bet the horses too, but I'm so penny ante, I only play with Bucky's motley crew. So like Zachary, my grandson Dylan, a gentleman to the core, really loves to party, always full of good cheer. He treats me like a special lady whenever he's near. The caring of my grandchildren, Sage, Dylan, and Jessa, certainly makes me feel like some very grand Contessa. It's hard to describe the pride I feel, surrounded by Jessa, Brian, Carl, and baby Cruz. I hesitate to extol, God rest my soul, but I have to spread the news. It's almost like deja vu when Sage gets up and sings for you. Self-assured, no stage fright here. I confess at her age I had more fear. She's going to Australia to finish her senior year, one more journey to round out her career. We're all hoping she'll have lots of fun and be the beginning of life's long run. All grown up, she just turned 21. 2 years ago, I had a defining moment. Open heart surgery, the doctor said. I knew then I had to live in double time. I couldn't imagine being dead. Yes, if I woke up from surgery, I would appreciate even more those most near and dear to me. Because of course, one really never knows if God's really there, you see. And faith is a dicey tenant, and we all have it no matter what we say. And when the dice are rolling, we all still kneel down and pray. I had President Clinton's doctor, Dr. Craig Smith, and devoted friends and family who never left my side. You stare mortality in the face, that's no myth, and find the courage that does really exist inside. I have an important motto that I'll pass on to you. Always spend the money on your safety or your health. I know we all like to save a buck or two, but being alive and well is always your greatest wealth. I must speak about the legacy of friendship and the inheritance left to me. Destiny took my very best friend Lillian on a very long trip, you see, and gave me Linda, her beautiful daughter, for free. She lives next door in my neighborhood. Her mom and I cherished her through babyhood. And now with my children sometimes not around, I have Linda to take me on the town and keep me always safe and sound. I'm currently on the board of an off-Broadway theater group. It's really still in my blood. I try my best to stay in the loop and nip old age in the bud. Our current projects feature emerging playwrights. We honor luminaries of the stage. Come to New York, see the highlights. The Big Apple is still all the rage. And if you can't come, it would be a pity not to visit my wonderful theater for the new city. I've been in several movies, most noteworthy, The First Wives Club. Don't blink too hard, you'll miss me. That's the only rub. And I was in several Woody Allen pictures. He was a little odd, but kept us all in stitches. Looking back, my movie life was really a blast, even when I wasn't cast. I did a few series on TV, It was pretty long ago, specifically Law and Order, that still long-running show. Unless you're a star, theater doesn't pay too well, and being an actor sounds really swell. But I finally decided to become a real estate broker. Play the right cards, eliminate the joker. 30 years in real estate, I know every building like the back of my hand, showing apartments weekends and Sundays till you could hardly stand. Finally selling an overpriced, expensive dump that was no doubt probably built by Donald Trump. My company just closed. I was thinking I'd retire, but got an offer I couldn't refuse. I'm really on fire. I'm now working for a new company. I start when I get back. Here I go again, running the real estate track. How did I get to St. John? Mark, also known as Bucky, finally flew the coop. He was to be president of my husband's company, but felt he couldn't go on. He wanted out of the rat race loop. He bought a 50-foot sailboat and sailed into the blue, restarted his life, met Suki, and found paradise like all of you. You might ask about my personal life. Is there emotional and physical deprivation? All I can say, and it might just suffice, I have incredible love without reservation. Yes, we need to stay youthful and alive, mentally alert and physically able. I don't think we would want to survive an empty life, barren and unstable. We find the recipe for our own lives, hopefully taking care of others, and the human spirit inside abides when we respect all our sisters and brothers. Thank heaven we're free to make our own choices, lighthearted and hopeful, my happy heart rejoices. So it turns out I'm matriarch of the Buckhalter clan. My God, what an exalted position. I guess the circle of life comes to every man, and as the fiddler said, it all comes down to tradition. And so I come to Suki's house, uninvited, year after year. The door open wide, so much love lives inside. No mother-in-law jokes do I hear. Of course, my eyes are not as sharp, and my ears are a little creaky. Every month I get my newsletter from ARP. You put up with me, darling Suki. I know you feel, as I do, that life is like a dream, and here we are, this universalist crew, sharing love, me to all of you. I don't have the answers. I lived it as it came. Do I have regrets? No, sir. I live it just the same. Bucky and Suki gave me a vacation spot to come to twice a year. They raised an incredible family, and that's why I'm standing here. Again, I want to thank you for how you have welcomed me. It's Easter time. I've bored you enough. One person's story, all that stuff. I've left out all the juicy parts and why I didn't remarry. But rest assured, all modesty aside, I turned down Tom, Dick, and Are there any questions?
Yeah.
All right, my ears are not so good.
Well, I would like to bear witness to the fact that you cook up a lot of good Italian food up there.
I'm sorry, say it again.
Upstairs, you cook up a lot of good
Yes,
Italian
I do. I do. I
You
cook
bring
a
a
lot.
lot of stuff
That's
to
for sure.
the family.
My mother was an incredible cook, and fortunately, I got some of that from her.
Yeah, that's the only thing you left out of your...
Oh, it's my cooking, right? Yes.
My
yes.
mother was an
Well,
incredible cook, and I got some of that from
She also left out her nickname, Cinderella.
Cindy.
Well, I guess I said it all.
Yeah, don't you have a summer house now?
Yes, I do. I still have
But
it.
I thought you said and then you sold it.
No,
That was
no.
her art.
I sold my co-op.
Oh.
I sold my co-op on
All right.
Friday. No, no.
I was worried you sold
No, I still have the house. They come every summer, thank God. So I still have it.
Well, I'm very happy to have seen the house in Fire Island and fallen in love with Fire Island from coming and visiting out there. It's been very welcoming and wonderful
Yeah.
to have you here. It's an inspiration.
Yeah, if
for
you're in
all
the
of us.
neighborhood, just give me a call. Well, thank you.
Thank